Baby Boomer fans, we are Jackie and Janine, the Pfeiffer sisters, and love to talk about the 1950s, inviting you to reminisce with us as we explore experiences of that decade. Grab your favorite malt or Green River, make sure you are wide awake, and get ready to be inspired about the 1950s. Welcome to the 1950s Fun Chat. Hi, friends. Thank you again for being so wonderful to join us. What we hope is week after week of a 1950s Fun Chat. You know, these little pieces of history, as told by the people who live them, are pretty special. And we are glad that you are here to enjoy them with us.
Welcome, viewers. Please scan to the lower part of your screen where you see www.whilethewindmillwatch.com. Please do take time to go there. You will find much information that you might enjoy. Actually, it's the kind of information that you'd want to know about when you want to know about our book, which is in the upper corner of your screen, www.whilethewindmillwatch.com. And While the Wind Will Watch, period. Okay, the site has all sorts of information about authors, Janine and Jackie, the book, the news and events, where one might purchase it, and all the previous 250, get that, 250 Fun Chats. Mm-hmm. So we'll get started on 251 here. Mm-hmm. So I have a question for you. What do fish and German wire-haired pointers have in common? Why, it's our guest, Kenny Miskavige. In 1952, Kenny was born and raised in a family of 4 children in Grafton, North Dakota. He graduated from Grafton High School in 1970. He married Catherine Rindall from Noonan, North Dakota in 1975. Their 2 adult children, Jeremy and Kate, have given them 5 grandchildren ranging in ages from 9 to 20 years. Now, Kenny worked for the city of Grafton for 39 years, retiring as superintendent of the water department. Kathy retired from the Unity Medical Center as manager of laboratory and radiology after 43 years of employment. They have been living the dream for 10 years on a 2-acre lot in beautiful northwestern Emmons County, which is located southeast of Bismarck, North Dakota. A new house and a shop meet their retirement needs. Now, Kenny and Kathy bred, raised, and trained German wire-haired pointers for over 20 years, putting versatile champion titles on their first 2 dogs. So Kenny's interests include bird watching and feeding, hunting dogs, hunting, and both open water and ice fishing. The couple has a big garden and are members of the Bismarck Farmers Market. Kenny's favorite pastime is following his grandkids in their various activities. Kenny, welcome to the 1950s Fun Chat.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Kenny.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So, to use a little play upon words, what got you hooked on fishing?
Well, I was very fortunate growing up that my father loved to hunt and fish, and they did it from the time, I'm sure from the time he was very small. You know, it was part of a thing for their family, you know, probably for food purposes. And I was lucky enough to have a father, like I said, that was able to hunt and fish and brought us into the fields and into the water, lakes and streams and rivers and whatever at a very young age. So it was very fun.
Mm-hmm.
When you were a little kiddo, did you get a fishing pole, or did you have to kind of gradually earn your way into your own pole?
No, actually, at a very, very young age, and you girls probably know Ben Franklin used to be a big variety store.
Yeah.
They used to have rod and reels, what we called rod and reels. They were probably about 3 feet long with a little plastic reel and probably a plastic rod. And my dad would take us down to the local dam in Grafton. And there was kind of rocks across the river. You could walk out there and you had a little bobber and a small little hook, put a piece of worm on there, and we would catch creek chubs. And to this day, I mean, I remember I could probably pick out the same rocks I fished on, you know, as a kid.
Yes.
So yeah, we started, and I tell you what, I loved it from day one, and from the time I was able to go with my dad and my uncles and other friends of his up to Lake of the Woods and all the other places that we would fish. It was I enjoyed it. I really did.
Did you dig your own worms, or did you buy them?
No, we would dig our worms, but we also back in the day there's a few spots where you could pick night crawlers at night. After a nice, heavy, humid, hot day with a little rain, you could go and pick night crawlers, and you could pick as many as you wanted to, And yeah, like when we would go up to used to go up to Canada a lot in the summer months with the family, and we would take, I mean, like 30, 40, 50 dozen night crawlers with us.
Wow. Do you, okay, I've probably been fishing once or twice in my whole life. So the worms have to be alive to be put on a hook, or will a fish be attracted to a dead worm?
No, that you want them alive because of the scent, and a dead worm is just going to dry up,
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
So, Kenny, what species of fish do you prefer to catch, and why?
Well, I don't mind catching any fish. I mean, I like catching them all, but the one we target mainly is walleyes because it's a very excellent table fare.
It is. Good. So, due to the rising water table in North Dakota, new lakes have appeared, and in some areas, sloughs have become lakes. So, have these bodies of water been stocked with fish by North Dakota Game and Fish? And if so, what fish were chosen and for what reason? Now, so that's 3 questions there. Were they stocked, and what were chosen, and for what reasons?
Well, a lot of out here now in western North Dakota, there's a lot of prairie lakes that were at one time probably glorified sloughs. And in the recent, I don't know how many, probably 20 years now, 10, 15, 20 years, these sloughs have filled up. Water table has risen, and the game and fish, we are very blessed here actually in North Dakota. Probably have one of the best game and fish departments in the United States, without a doubt. And we have 2 hatcheries in the state. So our game and fish do an excellent job of stocking these lakes. They keep an unbelievable records of stocking, netting results, and catch rates, and it's unbelievable what our North Dakota Game and Fish does. So they stock, they'll stock in some lakes, probably northern pike, which do well in certain lakes, and walleyes. Probably walleye is the #1 targeted fish in North Dakota. And then there's a lot of lakes that they might have crappie or perch or stuff like that.
Do you know, are there any specific reasons why specific fish are stocked that you know of?
Well, they're stocked because the spawning of certain fish, these lakes they might have a high pH level or salinity level, and they will not, the eggs will not hatch. So in order to sustain a fishery, they stock these lakes.
Sure. Yes. Okay. Do you, as a fisherman, or when you hold a fishing license, do you get on a mailing list at all from the North Dakota Game and Fish so that you're kept updated how the stocking is going on, and where the fish are being restocked, in case you want to go to those certain areas and fish for those particular kinds of fish?
Well, we have a magazine out monthly, North Dakota Outdoors.
Okay.
And certain issues, they have a spring issue, and it shows all the lakes that are fishable, all the landings that are there. If they have a boat landing, or if they don't, what's stocked in those lakes. I mean, it's unbelievable what our Game and Fish does. Seriously, all the locations, they'll give you directions how to get there. Okay. And like I said, if there's a boat ramp there, if there's not, if there's places to fish from shore, and the species of fish that are there that you can target. So,
how old were you when you went out just on your own and fished, and without the aid of your father or your uncles?
Oh, be pretty young, probably. The river where I fished is the Park River. Okay. that ran through Grafton. And we could hop on a bike from where I lived and be there, in a few minutes,
Mm-hmm.
And we were probably, I'm guessing under the age of 10 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what
And
you and your buddies did most all the time, was go fishing when you were little?
pardon me?
When you were little, is that pretty much what you and your buddies did, was go
Yeah.
fishing?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We played, back in Grafton, we had Little League Baseball.
Okay.
So in the summer months, we'd have Little League Baseball in the mornings. And we get home from that, maybe have something to eat, and then hop on your bike and grab some worms or some bait of some kind and rod and reel and hop on your bike and take off to the river.
Neat.
Okay.
I bet your parents were very happy that you had this passion, because they knew where you were.
Well, yeah, there were many times where I caught coming home too late for supper because we were still fishing.
Yeah.
And more than once they had the cops out looking for us.
Oh. Did you share your catch with the cops?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
So, Kenny, along with the stocked fish, are aquatic plants also stocked so that they had something to eat, the fish had, and so that it added oxygen to the water?
No, not plants, but they will stock like different types of minnows in these lakes.
Uh-huh.
And some of these lakes, from coming back from being a slough, they're very small invertebrate little freshwater shrimp, I would call them.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And that's what when you clean some of these fish, they're just loaded. Their stomachs are just loaded with like freshwater shrimp or scuds, anything that they're eating, that hatches off the bottom of the lake and stuff.
Yes.
So evidently they're not afraid that the shrimp are going to take over the balance, evidently.
No.
Okay.
But what it'll do, if the food supply in there is so great, that will definitely affect the fishing. Because now they don't have to bite what you're putting down there.
Sure.
So they got plenty of food in there. And that's what
Yes.
happens in some of these lakes. Until some of the fisheries guys that I know, they'll even say until that lake or slough gets eaten down to a level where, the fish will eat what's in the lake and also eat what the fishermen are putting down there.
Yeah.
You might not catch fish.
Yes.
Oh, well, wouldn't that be
there's a very fine line, and it needs to be a balance for sure.
Balance. Yeah.
yeah.
So, have Janine want to say something?
How did you learn to know where a favorite fishing hole might be? Was it just your experience or knowledge otherwise?
Well, most of your fishermen are pretty good as far as sharing information.
Yes.
As far as where you're going to fish.
Uh-huh.
But there could be a dam, it could be a culvert, it could be drainage of some type. It could be like where a river's running into another river at the mouth of that. And certain times of the year, these fish and the bait move up these rivers, and so that there's going to be other fish following there to eat the minnows and whatever.
Yeah.
Is there a certain time of the year that open water fishing is better than another?
Usually it's in first part in the spring. First open water is usually the best.
Okay.
This year down at Hazelton Landing, which is about 7 miles from our place where we live, on the Missouri River, and it's like kind of like the headwaters of Lake Oahe. And the fishing was unbelievable. I've never in my life, I fished for probably just about 65, some close to 70 years of fishing, and I've never had spring fishing like that ever.
And why the
quality of fish were just tremendous.
And can you guess about a reason for this?
Well, I really can't say that because I'm not, not having lived here all my life. but these fish, they come up from Lake Oahe, and they've come up the Missouri River, you know, to spawn and stuff. And then it all depends. Like one of my friends from the fisheries said that certain age classes, okay, now so they got an age class that's maybe 5 or 6 years old. They're going to be coming through this year, or you know, they're going to be a very, very nice size to catch because they're at the age, you know.
Yeah.
And
so
no,
the spawning takes place
unbelievable.
around there. Does the spawning take place like closer to Skakawea?
No, see, Sakakawea is above the Garrison Dam. We're below the dam. Our closest dam would probably be Pier, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's Pier.
okay.
So
Okay.
Pier backs up Lake Oahe. Garrison Dam backs up Sakakawea.
Yeah, right. Okay, so it's in between those two then.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
So, do you have a favorite fishing hole, or is that a secret?
No, we will. I've got a number of people I fish with since I've been out here. I've been lucky and very fortunate to meet a handful of great guys that like to fish like I do, and we will go and fish wherever we hear that fish are biting, or go try a different lake. Or
Yeah.
there's so many lakes around here. It's really unbelievable. You know,
Is there a
within probably
fishing? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
100-mile radius, you know, from here.
Mhm. Is there
But
a
most
fishing?
most of the lakes we fish are probably maybe 60, 70 miles from here, from where I live.
Okay.
So, is there a fishing app for your phone?
Well, there's a Game and Fish app I can put on my phone,
Okay.
and there is an app. I'm trying to think of the name of it now. It's Onyx. Onyx Fish is an actual fishing map that has all the lakes on their app, all the landings, all the types of fish there, stocking. It has you wouldn't believe the information.
Wonderful.
And it costs I think about $30 a year for that.
Have you been in any fishing contests, Kenny?
No.
Okay.
Don't have a desire?
No, never had a desire to fish tournaments or anything.
Okay.
And then
So,
and then does your wife fish?
She used to fish all the time, but she's never been in my boat since we've been out here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Been
we
there, done
used to spend honestly probably a good month, maybe 6 weeks up in northern Manitoba, eastern Saskatchewan,
Oh,
camping and fishing in the summer months.
Uh-huh.
And she used to fish all the time. She fished at Lake of the Woods with me all the time when I'd take my parents or the kids along and stuff. But out here, she just had no desire to get in the boat for some reason.
okay. So, we talked about an app. So, how has technology changed fishing?
Oh, it's unbelievable now. I mean, growing up, there was no such thing as the depth finders, fish finders, and all this technology they have now with the live scope and live targets, and there was nothing like that. We used to go when I was younger. I mean, my dad, every opening weekend or on opening weekend in Minnesota, we would go to Lake of the Woods, and you'd rent probably a 16-foot wooden boat and have a 5.5 horse motor on it.
Yeah.
And there'd probably be, well, many times it'd be our family. My mom, my dad, and the 4 kids would pile in this boat. You'd take a lunch along and maybe a cook stove and all the cooking utensils. And you would go fish out in the gap at Lake of the Woods at Morse Point. And we'd probably catch our fish, and around maybe at dinner time, we would pull the boat into shore, and my dad would clean some fish, and we would cook fish there, right on the shore, on the sandy shores there. And yeah, but the technology it's unbelievable. You would probably go out there and just anchor and vertically jig with a minnow and maybe a jig or something like that. Yeah.
So, have you ever done any trolling?
You do a lot of trolling now, you know, right? This past week we were down at Lake Oahe, and that's how we fish down there. Trolling spinners and night crawlers.
And so what kind of fish do you expect to get when you troll?
Well, down in the river, down like in Lake Hawaii, because it's fed with a river system, you're going to catch a little bit of everything. We caught a real nice limit of walleyes here last week. There were 3 of us in the boat, and we caught a cat. We were actually talking about this, joking a little bit about the species we're going to catch.
Yeah.
We caught a catfish, a northern pike, a sheephead, a smallmouth bass. I think that's probably about it. But yeah, you don't really know what you're going to catch down there.
So were some of those throwaway fish, throwback fish?
Most of them were. The only fish we kept were the walleyes.
Yeah.
Is it when you catch a fish and you pull it up out of the water, or before you pull it up out of the water, can you tell that this probably doesn't feel like it's going to be a keeper?
Yeah, sometimes you can. Yeah, by the way the fish bites and stuff, and the way they bite too. Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever had to really fight a fish in order to get it into your boat?
Well, no, the fish. We caught some very big walleyes this spring down in Lake Hawaii or at Hazelton this year, and now you get a say a 8, 10, 12 pound walleye in the current. Yeah, you got your hands full. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Hey, what's your test line that you usually use? How many pounds?
I use 8-pound test line.
Okay.
Monofilament, and I use braid at times too. Depending on most of my trolling rods or bait casting reels have braid on it. And then you use braid, and then you'll hook up to we call them bottom bouncers and a spinner, and that's mono.
Okay.
Monofilament.
Monofilament. Yep.
So do you go ice fishing, Kenny?
That's my favorite.
Oh, and why is that?
I have no idea. I've always liked ice fishing. I mean, I'm serious.
Freeze your fingers.
Yeah, I mean, it's from the time I was able to, they would actually take me to go ice fishing. I don't know. I just fell in love with it. It's and back then there was no such thing as power augers or anything else. I mean, you would have a spud bar, an ice chisel, and you would chisel through.
That was it.
Yeah. If you went to Lake of the Woods, you could be chiseling through 3 feet of ice.
Oh man! And you didn't have, and so no one from that area helped you get that hole dug.
No, I mean you did it. Yeah, If you wanted to fish, that's what you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember fishing one time in Warroad with my dad and a couple of his friends, and I was pretty young at that time, and there was a gentleman there that they knew had made a homemade auger.
Oh yeah,
which was very unique. It would cut the circumference of the hole, probably say an 8-inch hole. It had teeth on it. It was steel with teeth on it, and you would drill. It would cut the circumference of the hole, snap it off a chunk, bring it up to the surface, go down and keep drilling like that way. It was really pretty ingenious idea. Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. So now are you in a fish house, or are you still out there?
I have a couple portable fish houses now that they're little pop-ups.
Yeah.
And then you have with propane heaters in them, so you're very comfortable in there. And then since I moved out here, most of the people I fish with all have their own little, we call them wheelhouses. They're small. Mine's a 6x10. It's on wheels, and it lowers down right to the ice level.
Yeah.
And so everybody has their own fish house, and there'll be times when like 3 of us or 4 guys maybe will pile into a Suburban or an Expedition, and it's your turn to drive, and everybody gets out and drops them off at their fish house, and it's fun.
Well, Kenny, you must have some fishing stories after all these years. Can you tell us a great fishing story?
Well, I'll tell you a story about the biggest walleye I ever caught in my life. A friend of mine, and a good farmer friend of mine from up in the valley there, we were at a hot tip. We were going up to fish up in lower Manitoba, just across the border from Pembina, on the Roseau River. We left my house. It was like 32 or 35 below zero in the morning.
Oh.
And we fished outside all day long in the open, and we had a number of holes. We'd be hole hopping from hole to hole, and it was getting dark because and this was the latter part of December. I think it might have been right before Christmas time, like 2 or 3 days before Christmas, and right before we were done fishing, I was hole hopping from hole to hole, and I caught a fish, and I thought at that time it probably was a catfish. I was in pretty shallow water, probably about 4 or 5 feet of water at the most, and this thing was just hit my lure like a rock, and pulled that fish up, and it was 33 inches long, 13 3/4 pound walleye.
Wow.
That I have mounted out in my shop now, and that was caught up in just across the border in southern Manitoba on the Roseau River, where the Roseau River dumps into the Red River, actually.
Yeah. So you've got all these fish that you've tasted over the years. Is there a favorite recipe, especially for walleye, that you could share?
No, I mean we try different. We try different ways to. I normally like our fish deep fried.
Mm-hmm.
So
you coat them with anything?
Pardon me?
You coat them with anything? You dip them in breading or something?
Right. Yeah. There's so many different breadings and seasonings on the market now that we might try one, and some of them we like, and so we'll use more frequent than others. But yeah, there's a lot of different ones on the market now.
Mm-hmm.
So you enjoy being with your grandchildren. Do they come along with you when you fish?
Well, they're. I don't know if Pete ever told you, but they're really involved in hockey. I've got a grandson that plays for Bemidji State.
Oh, yeah.
I've got another grandson, my second one, he plays for the Omaha Lancers.
Oh, really?
And I've got another granddaughter now this year. She's going to play for Holy Family in Minneapolis. So they don't have a lot of time for fishing, but they usually try and get them out once or twice a summer. Mm-hmm. They enjoy it, but you got to keep them in fish because they'll get bored pretty quick. They're not hardcore fishermen.
Oh, okay.
Did you ever play hockey?
I did play hockey.
On a team or just for your own fun?
No, I played high school hockey back in '69 and '70. And you talk about technology that's changed in fishing. The same in those sports too. It's unbelievable. The sticks that we used to use back then, you'd probably go to the sporting goods store and you'd probably pay maybe $2, $2.50. Maybe a good one might be $5 or $5.50. These sticks these kids have nowadays are like $300 to $400. They're composite, carbon and graphite, and it's unbelievable. The skates now, and I remember my mom buying me a pair of skates for my junior year. Our coach would they would take orders for the kids, and they would go up into Canada. They'd go across the border into the smaller towns across the border there and pick up skates for the team, because most of your skates were made up in your Bauer and CCM skates were all made up in Canada, and they were much cheaper up there. So the coach would take orders and back then I know the skates I think that I got were probably like maybe $60. Your very top of the line, your CCM Pro Tax were probably maybe $75 at that time. Well, now these kids skates, you're talking, they could probably be $1,000. It's hard to even imagine. Yes. Now.
So did hockey, did ice skating come easily for you, or did you ever do figure skating, or is it always hockey, or just having fun on the ice?
No. We growing up where I did, the streets weren't even paved at that, when we were younger.
Oh, yeah.
So the streets were graveled back then. But you know how with traffic would pack down the snow, and maybe you'd get some sleet every once in a while. But yeah, and there were neighbor kids back then, and we would go in the evenings, and you'd set up 2 chunks of snow for goalie, and somebody would play goalie, and the other kids would be out there, and the sparks would be flying from your skates, hitting the rocks on the road, and yeah. And back then, this is hard to believe, but back then, what you would use for shin pads would maybe a remember how big Life magazine used to be? You'd strap Life magazines on your knees and use a couple shoelaces or some heavy duty cardboard, and
Yeah.
that's the way it was back then.
How fun. How
Yeah.
fun for you.
So, did you ever fish Devil's Lake or Sakakawea?
I fished the Kakawea a few times. Kathy and I, even when we had the kids, I mean, my parents or her parents would watch the kids maybe for a long weekend, and we'd go camping up to Sakakawea or down here to Hawaii. But fished a lot in the, I would say late 60s, early 70s, a lot on Devil's Lake when it was it wasn't near the size it is now.
Yeah.
There was an area on the south part of the lake there, and I had a small boat, little 16-foot boat with a 20-horse motor on it. We could back in along the shoreline there and just launch it by hand. And the fishing was just, even back then, was just phenomenal, But it's nothing compared to it like it is now.
No.
But
So when
we
you
caught a lot of fish there. The perch fishing there in the early 70s and 80s back then there was no limit on perch. So you could go there, and I remember I got some pictures of, with 100 and some perch on the cardboard there that we ended up cleaning when we got home. And
Oh my word.
yeah.
Yes.
I'd like, Jackie, do you have any more?
I do have one thing, and that's one of all the areas you fished in North Dakota. Can you say that one or two are better for catching walleye? Not only for catching walleye, Sakakawea or Devil's Lake or the river or what?
Well, that's hard to say, Jackie, because I don't fish. I have fished up in Sakakawea, and that's it's a much further drive for us here.
Right.
And it's a big body of water. You better have some pretty big equipment, big boat and big motor if you're going to fish up there. With the wind, the North Dakota winds we have.
Okay, yeah.
And Sakakawea and Lake Oahe, we've been struggling down there with the low water levels. Hawaii is a beautiful, beautiful fishery. Beautiful, excellent fish down there. But right now, the problem down there is, on the North Dakota side especially, is the access. I know right at one of the place right at the state line there, you're probably talking maybe 2 feet of water to get your boat out until you can get out into the main channel, the main part of the lake.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So that's different. So now that limits you to where you can go. So we've been fishing a lot of the smaller lakes, within, like I said, maybe a 50, 60 mile, 70 mile radius of where I live.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything from your youth that inspired you to start breeding dogs?
Well, I shouldn't, I don't know. I mean, at an early age, I always liked dogs. But being some of the activities we were involved with limited you to have a dog. Who's going to take care of when you're gone, or this or that. And so when I was old enough to get a dog and take care of it, and I had a friend of mine, and we built a kennel in the yard there, and very first dog I had was a black lab, female. Paid $50 for it. Came from Beardsley, Minnesota.
Usually.
I trained that dog. I spent more time with that dog than did any girl, I think. And honest to God, that was just a phenomenal hunting dog. Phenomenal dog. I taught that dog more. I had more offers to sell that dog to people back when I, going to some of the these fun trials and stuff like that. People saw that dog work and they offered to buy that dog. And we had labs. Kathy and I had labs for probably maybe 20 years or so. In fact, she was even questioning if she was going to get married because I had to part with one of them when we got married, because where we lived when we first got married, I could only have like one dog. So I had 2 females at the time, and one older one, and actually her uncle and their family lived on a farm there by Bowbells, and they were just tickled. They were just tickled pink to get that dog, and that was probably one of the saddest days of my life when I had to part with that dog. 2 days, I think, prior to my wedding, and Kathy didn't even know if she was going to get married, if I was going to do it or not.
Priorities.
So then we, like I said, we had labs then, and and the pheasant population started coming back, oh, probably 20 years ago or so, maybe even a little bit before that. So you kind of, I always tell people, you match the breed of dog to your need. And I researched a lot of different breeds of dogs to get into more of a versatile dog. Let's put it that way. A dog that was good in the water, good on land, good retrievers, and had good stamina, hunted hard, and we settled on wire-haired pointers. And I got my very first one from Hillsboro, Wisconsin. And I happened to run into a guy at the Fargo Sportsman Show on the way home. We stopped there. And it just so happened that there's a club there in Fargo, NAVDA, North American Versatile Hunting Dog chapter. They were putting on a clinic. And there was an old guy there. He's probably, he'd be about 20 years older than I am right now. He was putting on this clinic with his dog. And I told him, I was so impressed with how he handled that dog. I told my wife, I said, I have to meet that guy. So we hung around long enough after he was done, and I got a chance to meet him, introduce myself. And to this day, probably one of my best friends, and he was a mentor to me, training these dogs. And I took that very first dog, that wire-hair pointer, and I put a Versatile Champion title on it. And I told my wife, I said at the time, I said, this dog is so good, I want to get another one. So I went and got another dog, and that came from Superior, Wisconsin. And I put a title on that one too, and that kind of jump-started us breeding dogs and training dogs. And we sold dogs to probably, I don't know how many different states and Canadian provinces, and we shipped dogs all. At times we had 2 to 3, most of the time 1 to 2 litters a year. Sometimes we had 3 litters a year. So to raise dogs, and anybody that's ever done it, to do it and do it right and get these dogs acclimated to people and stuff, it's really a job.
Yeah. Do you ever have you ever had to when someone came to pick up a dog, or where you met them somewhere, did you ever, and you met the people, did you ever have to say, I can't, this dog has to come home with me? You just couldn't see that it was going to be a good match between the dog and the owner?
No, because at that time we had a pretty good website set up. And I would be in contact with these people. I would be posting pictures all the time of the dogs, these puppies, as they progressed. And so a lot of these people, they knew when they got to my place, and I had people actually, they would come and stay with us, the night before or whatever. And so they would get to see the puppies. And so they knew exactly kind of what they were getting, So no, we never, we were very fortunate and had really good people, and I would, a lot of people now breeding dogs, they want to sell them to people strictly, they want these dogs tested, and trained and stuff like that. And we had great dogs. Don't get me wrong. To this day, I still get calls for people if are you still doing this? And can we get a puppy? And but to this day, a lot of people, I should say, are looking for certain things in different dogs. So you have to try, like I said, match the breed to your need,
Yes.
And some of these people have never had dogs, so you gotta keep them. They'll be in touch with you. Can we do this? Can we do that? And you'd steer them onto books and different training things, how to get them started, and because you never wanted anybody to, you wanted all the families to succeed of having a good family dog, Sure.
Do you ever call yourself the dog whisperer?
No, but I've been called that before.
Okay. Kenny, we've talked 40 minutes. Do you believe it?
Yes.
Anyway.
Delightful minutes.
Yes. Thank you for being our guest. It's been
You're
fun.
most welcome.
Yes. Jackie, how can you close our program?
Well, thank you very much, viewers, for joining us. Do tell your friends and even your relatives about the 1950s Fun Chat. So till next time, toodaloo.
Bye-bye.
Yeah,